Hey everybody. So I'm gonna start today with a little garden tour because things are blooming and they look so pretty. And then we'll go back in and we'll paint. So these are Solomon seal, I think is what they're called. I love them. The saddest part is when these little bells drop off, but right now they're like these crazy tall asparagus looking things, and these have been transplanted from this side. So look how crazy these are. Hi, my sister. Love you. So this huge mound is all the same stuff, which is very fun. This area needs a little work. I still haven't gotten there. Probably should do it before it's 80 degrees the next 2 days. That will be daylilies. And then these are gigantic irises. And they're getting ready to bloom. And I swear every time they do bloom, we'll get a huge rainstorm. But they will be so big. And that's a cluster, that's a cluster. This is a cluster. And they are really old. They were here before I bought the house, and we've been here for 20 years, 20 years or something like that. This holly needs a trim, which you can see it's got all its little buds. And I think there might be a bird's nest in here. See a bird fly out of here all the time. All right. So my dappled willow, I hacked it back to nothing, and now it's starting to come back. It's like my big Groot tree. But it gets the prettiest color leaves on it. And my friend Laura in Connecticut has one, and it's so gorgeous. And I absolutely bought it in Connecticut and said, yep, I'm getting to the lilac tree. So this is going to be a hydrangea, and this one gets really big puffs on it. This is a non-fruiting crabapple tree, and it'll get these beautiful pink, gorgeous pink flowers on it, which I love. And many Memorial Days ago, maybe 4, could be 5, it got attacked by a woodpecker, and it has a huge hole in the bottom over here. Let's see if I can get in here and show you. I gotta trim some of these branches out. So right here and here, this huge hole got notched out. But this baby, get off my tree. It's darn bittersweet, always trying to strangle everything. I will be out to kill you very soon, bittersweet. But it still comes back. It's a little scraggly on this side, but I come out and I tell it I love it very much, and it keeps coming back. And that's what I'm gonna keep telling myself. That's why it keeps coming back. There's definitely some stuff in here that I just like how it looks, and I don't remember what anything is called. This is going to be a dogwood. Look at that light. I love it when it does that. And I don't know what this is, but it gets really pretty leaves. And I'm definitely going to get strawberries this year. I need to water, so those of you looking, going, your garden looks a little dry, Michelle. I know it's dry. This is going to be phlox, which is another one of my favorite things. And over here, this needs to be weeded a bit. But I get all these little strawberry plants. So I think that these ones are looking pretty flowery, pretty strong. I think I'm gonna get some decent sized strawberries this year. I did not plant them. They decided to plant themselves. This is the same tree as what's over there, just I need to water them. They definitely need some water. And then these are delphinium, I think. Right? No, lupins. Sorry, lupins. And I just found out that yesterday, carnations are a perennial. Yeah. Perennial. Carnation. Perennial. Carnation. Who knew? We do now. That's a beach plum. It has white flowers on it. And Melissa, for you, dun, da, 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 we have the lilac tree. And it is like parfum. I know, right, Lori? Who knew? Who knew the carnations were a perennial? So this lilac tree used to be like 2 feet tall when we moved into the house. so I'll have to go back in. It used to be like this little tree, right, this little shrub right here, and now it's this gigantic, beautiful, perfumey, smells amazing, Melissa. It's like so sweet. Remember when we were kids and you pull off one of the little flowers, and for some reason we thought we could suck on the end, and oh, actually it is a little sweet. Yep, just went in. Look at those, like this color. I love that color. It smells so good, and it just comes all the way up through the house. So this is the view coming back to the studio. I'm gonna walk my way back so I can plug my phone back in. So I definitely need like some kind of shady plant over there. Look at my cute little fence right here, so I don't have to look at my neighbors. And I put little lights, little twinkle lights on there that are what do you call it? Solar. They're solar lights, and so they come on at night. But I didn't know I put it on like blinking mode. So I looked out my window last night and there was like totally blinking, crazy blinking lights. And I've got my little table set up here, and I'm getting a hammock for over in here. So I'm stuff. Very messy, very messy. So I'm gonna plug this in because we are dying out. All right. So, hi. So that was fun to just take you on a little tour. So I have this door open. This door opens as well, so I can get lots of air in, but I also get lots of bees and bugs. And it looks like there's one over here. So, and I also was able to get my hair done today. So I got a trim and I got a color. So my roots are better and it's nice and dark, and I feel like myself a little bit more than I have. So I hope everyone else is having a wonderful day. All right, so my thing today was I wanted to, hello Pidgey. I was gonna show you how to paint a bird, and I have honestly already started because I can't show you all of my secrets, so I can show you some of them. But you can take a class with me and I'll show you the rest of my secrets. So here's a bird, whoop, slipping, that I painted for, just because my nephew really liked this bird. And I don't remember what it was called, but he was like, hey, I asked him what should I paint next, and he sent me this picture of this bird, and I thought that's pretty cool. So I did this a while ago, but it has a poured background. It's on one of these panels, these masonite panels, and this pour actually came out really good. I really like all the swirls and stuff. I don't love the whole process of the pouring because it changes all the time and it's kind of a pain in the neck, but I like painting on top of them. So that's one bird. And here's a little parrot face. I really like this one. I love this background. This one came out pretty well. Same surface, same like masonite surface. It looks like he's gonna talk to you. So what I want to show you is to take it from, so here's the bird I'm gonna do. Again, I don't remember what this one's called either. And I started it, but it doesn't have a lot of the detail. And you can see the difference in this one because you can see all those little pieces of feather, right? And I think that's the part that people get stuck on, is like, now what? So I've got all the colors on there, and now what happens? So let's see what happens. I'm gonna try to make this lower today so that you can see it a little bit better. Here's my picture. Bing, 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 bing. There we go. And this is not my picture. I did not take a picture of this bird. I don't think that it actually exists in this part of the world where I live. So I wouldn't be selling this. I would probably give it to my mom or somebody, just because it's not my picture. There are lots of different sites that you can go to that will have pictures that you can use that are free. They are not copyrighted, and that's really important to remember when you are choosing your pictures. So I have my water, I've got a palette. This has dry paint on it, but I can just put paint back on top of it, so it doesn't really matter. I have a variety of brushes, so I've got kind of some pointy ones. I have a little angled brush that might work, but for what I'm gonna do, I probably need more of these little smaller brushes. If you want to know what brand they are, I can see if there's a tag on them. Some of them are Winsor Newtons. Some of them are just Golden Taklons and stuff like that. So this is a wood piece, like a wood slice. I had a really hard time figuring out what I wanted to paint on it because it's such a weird shape. Because I'm ordering them, I don't get to pick them out myself. And this one looks like an egg. And I thought, well, I'll put something on it this way. And then I didn't like that, so I figured I'll go this way. I just blocked in the colors that are here. They're not exactly true, which is fine. So here's the bird I'm working from. I want to kick up some of these colors. When I say kick up, what I'm talking about is I want to make those colors brighter, more intense. There are some colors in here that maybe could be dulled down. And then there's the little feathery pieces, and I want to get those in. So you can see what I would call local color, meaning if it's brown, I painted it brown. If it's yellow, I kind of painted it yellow, but a darker yellow. I think I went with an ochre color. I think I used a combination of a blue and a green to get this green in here. I used a combination of brown with violet. So sometimes if you're trying to make something darker, I'm just reading what Paige is writing. Paige, I cannot wait to see what your studio looks like. The more windows, the better. So on this, to get this darker, I put these together and that got me this darker value because it's not black, right? It's warm, it's a little darker, and sometimes even throwing like a little bit of pink in there, which this color I really like. This one's nice if you can get your hands on something called Purple Matter. No matter what kind of paint it is, Purple Matter. Don't my fingernails look awesome? Look at that. Beautiful. I can't get these ones off. And dirt because I'm digging in the garden. All right. I got a paper towel. I'm going to kind of talk myself through this a little bit. I have the eye in there a little bit. So I'm trying to lighten things up. So I want to I'm probably going to use some orange, well, deep yellow, but you're going to look at it and say, that looks kind of orange to me. I'm probably going to mix it with a little bit of this burnt sienna. And your differences in colors are burnt siennas are warm, so siennas are warm, and umbers are cool. So I always look at this as milk chocolate, and I look at umbers as dark chocolate. That's how I refer to them, which I tend to refer to things in food. So I'm going to put some of this on my palette. The paint I'm working with is acrylic gouache, which is different than regular gouache because it stays put. Whereas other gouaches, they will move around. They don't stay put, and that's fine. It's whichever you like. You can buy these individually. You can buy them in sets. What I like about them is that you only need a really little bit of paint and it goes really far. And it's good for this because I can just keep things under control. Otherwise, it's just chaos. And I think the brush I have is small enough, but I might need to find something a little bit smaller that I didn't maybe put out for myself. Oh, here, like this one might work. This is a nice brand. You can get this, I think I got this at either Michael's or AC Moore. And you can see I left it in the water too long, so the cover is splitting, which is a horrible thing I do. All right, so let's look at these yellows first. We'll look at those yellows because I've got this yellow right here. So you can use, I hear buzzing, like there's a bee buzzing around. As long as it leaves me alone, we're fine. So with these yellows, you can water them down, right? So I can make that thinner, or I could use it thicker. So that's already going to start to brighten that up. Just want to manipulate this light a little bit, just so that you can see this a little bit better. Got a little water on my brush. I don't want that on there. All right, so also keeping in mind, and this little dark outline that I put here is kind of a purple. Like this little outline that's around that edge is not black, but is probably some purple that has a little bit of blue in it, like a really dark blue. And if I messed up with this, which there's always a possibility, I can just paint over what I have and start again, which seems like a really big hassle, and it absolutely is a really big hassle to have to start something over again, but it's worth it. I need a little white because I'm working on the brights and the lights at this point. I blocked in pretty much everything else. I'm just going to use a little white. I might need a little brown because this is coming out just a little bit too bright for me. So I'm going to get some of this. My Hall & Oates has been turned off. I don't want to turn it off. Turn it back on. All right. So we are listening to Big Bam Boom is what I have on. All right, I don't like how shiny that is. I keep trying to make it so you can see it, but it's not so shiny. There we go. All right, brown. So I'm just trying to make this light, kind of how I like if I were going to drink coffee, would be lots of cream and sugar, but I don't drink coffee, but this is the color it would be. So just by making those little marks, and I don't know if you can see that. If you can't see it, or it's not clear, let me know. So I'm gonna just pull some of this across here. So the fact that I have this piece dark, so I'm gonna go back to this for a second. This little piece right here, right? So instead of making it light first, it's dark, and I'm gonna build those lights on top. One of the hardest things to remember or to even do when you are painting and learning to paint is to try to work the back of the painting to the front. So whatever is the layer in the back, and then to whatever layer you want to have in the front. Because our brain doesn't really want to do that. Especially when you get really excited about starting a painting, you're thinking, I just want to jump in. And you can do that. Like none of the things here that I'm telling you are set in stone, unless you're in my class. And then yes, in my classroom, they are all set in stone. You have no choices except to follow my directions. But when you're painting on your own, do whatever the heck you want to do and see how that works out. You will find your own way. So just with those little marks, I'm going to get in closer. It's starting to look a little bit more feathery, right? So you just need a smaller brush to get you those little pieces. So like this part here, again, doesn't have oh, it's so loud outside. I live on a busy road, if you can't tell. And my door's open, so I can hear everything. And one of the other things I'm doing with my hand is I'm not pushing down a lot onto the surface. So when I'm coming at it, I'm trying to just a little whisper of the brush. So I'm holding it really steady. Won't lie, I'm kind of holding my breath a little bit doing these little marks because speaking and painting or speaking and drawing or speaking and doing anything like that I find really difficult, which is why I did a decent portion of this ahead of time because I can't do both. If you have questions along the way, please ask. I'm looking up every once in a while just to see if there are any questions or comments, trying to respond to what you are seeing. What you got going on? Paige, I love that you remember that paint is its own eraser. And if you were wanting to work tomorrow, I have some open time tomorrow if we wanted to have a little Zoom meeting of the minds. You can show me what you've been working on, stuff like that. All right. And all of this just takes practice. It just takes really looking. One of the best pieces of advice that I ever got was to look more and paint less. So instead of convincing myself that I know exactly what it is that I'm painting or what I'm doing, try to stop, slow down, breathe, move away from the painting every once in a while. I did a painting session yesterday with a wonderful, wonderful lady named Laura out in Arizona yesterday. And this was her first painting, like doing the style of painting that we were doing. And she was so happy that she took the risk to try something different. And, you know, sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not as successful, but it's just getting out there and trying something new, trying something out of your comfort zone, I think is always really important. I tend to try to make myself, I'm generally really uncomfortable anyways, but that's just me. That's me and my brain and how it works for me. I'm sure there's lots of people out there who are super comfortable with themselves. I mean, I'm comfortable with myself. It's not totally it. Situations can sometimes make me a little anxious. The unknown can make me anxious, but I'm trying to take it one day at a time, knowing that there's very little in my control. If nothing else, this situation, this pandemic has made me have to not look to the future, just live in today and what I'm doing today. And I'm trying to come to you with content that is interesting and relative into the unknown. Yep. Again, it's been really good for me because I'm a planner. I like to know exactly what's happening when it's happening, plan down the line. My sisters will tell you I don't like to do anything unless I know where are we going for lunch, how long are we going to be there, how do I leave, how do I get out. I'm a planner, and my husband is fly by the seat of your pants. Let's just go for a drive and see where it takes us. No. Do I need to bring snacks? How many snacks do I need to bring? Am I going to need a gallon of water, 2 gallons of water? What if we get stuck? What if we get lost? My car always has enough snacks. Yeah, where's the bathroom? Exactly, Melissa. Don't take me on a ride that you don't know where we're going. And I'm gonna drink all that water and eat all my snacks and I'm gonna go, sorry, I don't know where any bathrooms are. So it's starting to look a little bit more fluffy, right? Oh, it's getting kind of cute. I'm going to work a little bit more on this neck part, but I think I need a little bit more purple for that. And it's my painting, so I could change the colors if I want. I like the colors that are in this. This little green on the back is kind of interesting. Again, this is not my painting. No, Paige, I don't like road trips. Unless I can pack everything that I'm going to need, which is why, you know, my husband and I will joke that we're going to get an RV and we're going to go on travels. And I say, that's fine. The RV part is awesome because traveling bathroom, refrigerator, I'll have everything with me and no problem. That's how I would be able to do that. I will have it all planned out with all my snacks. And my cooler, because I don't like to be too hot. So I literally drive around in the summer with a cooler in my trunk full of water and snacks and ice, like literally a whole bag of ice. Because I like cold, cold, cold water. I don't like to be too hot. And if I'm driving all over the place, which I tend to do, I like to be prepared. Do not like not prepared. All right, so I'm not loving just this black line here. So I'm gonna change that color a little bit. What I really want to do is make it a little bit more brown, and I'm gonna try to use just the edge of this brush. This is a great brush. It's really long, so I can get those little pieces in there. Bye, Melissa. All right. So now I'm mixing paint, and I can't speak and mix paint at the same time. So again, if you have any questions about what's happening here, or the mediums, or anything that I'm using, let me know, and I'll try to give you some information. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it is so beautiful out. I just wanted to show you something besides flowers. Though I won't lie, still working with flowers. I will always work with flowers. And I'm literally having to hold my breath to get these lines in here. Sometimes I have a little bit of a shaky hand for no other reason than I just end up with a shaky hand sometimes. I'm just gonna soften these little black edges. I don't like how dark they are. I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this sienna color in here, and what that's gonna do, so what's happening here too. So I've got the green and this violet, yellow, and I've got the browns and then a little bit of the violet on this side. So what that's gonna do is round this and make it look more three-dimensional. So if you've got a cool, a warm, and a cool, those things are gonna help anything that you paint look more three-dimensional. That's one of those tricks. So if you paint everything the same value, well, it's a little tricky. You're not gonna end up with as much depth if that's what you're looking for. If you're not looking for that, then you don't have to do that. So I just softened that a little bit. And some of this paint in here, I'll start to make a little thicker. So anything that's closest to me should be a little bit thicker as well. It helps it to come forward. Again, this is not my picture. I just really liked the design and the colors, thought it was unusual. So this will probably end up in either one of my sister's homes or my parents' or back with a bunch of my little birdie paintings around here. So you can see just adding a little bit more light value onto those greens makes that pop a little bit more. I'm trying to get it. I've got this overhead light and everything, and it's helping and not helping all at the same time. Because then I get a shadow. All right, some little green pieces in here. And the other thing I'm trying not to do is make all of my lines the same thickness. I'm also trying not to make them a pattern, meaning I'm trying not to make them in a row or up and down or something that just screams you're making a pattern and it's not gonna look so natural. All right, so a little bit of this violet. I'm running out of white, so I'm gonna have to put some more white out. Or if I'm trying to make something that looks a little gray, I will almost always use something that's like a violet gray or a blue gray. Kind of see that coming down that edge. Oh, white, 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 white. Let's go thinner. So not all whites are the same. I was using one of those gouache whites and it's just a little too thick. So I had to go to something that's just a little bit thinner. The other thing that you'll do is you want to figure out, do I push or pull? Which is easier for you to get smaller pieces of paint on there. For me, pulling seems to work better. But again, that it doesn't work for everybody, meaning I'm like pulling this way. Some people do better pushing in this direction. And there's these couple little light pieces here. Again, this is very intricate, but I'm not totally interested in that. I'm interested in capturing the texture and some of the colors and putting in some colors that I really like. Just gonna try to blend this just a little bit more so it's not quite so start and stop. This is a little bit bigger than how it's reading. Just gonna make that a little bit bigger. Making some of these pieces just a little bit brighter. And pull some little bright pieces in here. So that's not quite as yellow, but I like it yellow like that. Paige, if you can do math and watch this, bravo. I applaud your efforts. All right, so I want to do a little bit of this. I still need some white. I have a mixture of the purple with that brown because it is a little bit warmer in this space. This spot over here is a little bit more red, so I might need a tiny bit more red in this space. This is a little lighter. And there are definitely certain times of the day that I'm really good at this. Other times I am not. I had to really set in my head today that I was going to be doing these really little pieces of paint because sometimes you're just not in a place where you can do something like that. And I tend to not force myself in those instances. Especially with something that's really tiny and small. Again, that's why that's a good color. That's why I did the bulk of the blocking in yesterday, knowing I was going to need to have a steady hand for this part today. All right. So I'm going to go back. I'm just going to show you my original picture here, just so you can see where it's going. All right, so here's the original. So you can see in here, you can see all those little pieces of texture and the feathers. And I'm starting to get those in that space. And I'm not jumping right into the lightest value because I am going to go back in with something a little bit lighter here and there. Which is probably adding a little bit of an ochre color to that red and then some white. So I get something that's kind of a peachy kind of a light. Sometimes I like to have a little scrap piece of paper or a little scrap canvas nearby so I can see what color I'm making before I put it on here. I just tested a little tiny piece just to make sure that that was working. There we go. Just gonna get a little tiny bit of water. So I could use water or I could use a medium. Like a matte medium to help the flow of the paint. There's all kinds of different things out there for that. But if you don't have access to all of the bells and whistles, Waterworks, just fine. You just want to make sure that you clean off like this end of your brush so it doesn't have blobs of water, because my least favorite thing when I'm painting is when a blob just drips down onto my painting and wrecks what I was trying to do. It's got this nice like caramel color here and here. And there's not this really dark line, so I'm just going to cover that up a little bit. And my base color on here is one of those matte acrylics. So this is the matte acrylic here. The color I used is Amethyst. It's one of my favorite colors for a background. Has a lot to do with that it is a violet color, because that's one of my favorites. I tend to use a lot of teals and blues for backgrounds too, especially when you're working with something that has all these warm browns. A teal would have been a really good choice for this. All right, so there's definitely a lot more little light pieces that I'm going to start to put in here. This has very specific lines, and it's all just practice. Some of it is that I've learned to see this way. You can learn to see this way as well if you choose to practice, which is up to you. And if you wanted to do some practicing and you wanted to learn some new things, remember I am doing Zoom classes, and you can find all that information on my website. And you can even sign up right on my website at michelledysonart.com. Oh, this is it's just so cute. A little bit more orangey up here. Let's see. There we go. Get a little bit brighter in this space. A little bit brighter here. All right, so let's take a look. Go eat spaghetti. See you Friday. So in not a lot of time, you can kind of see it right there. You can see all those little lines. It's a little bit more believable. I definitely wanted to do the beak before coming on with you, just because that requires quite a steady hand. I definitely can't speak and do that at the same time. And I did a little bit of the branch. I could definitely do a little bit more of that. Just grabbing some white with a tiny bit of brown just to warm up this edge just a little bit. Just trying to see if I can get it so you can see that it's peachy. There we go. So it's right there on that line, a little bit peachy. And again, not black. Down there, that is violet and a blue. So the more depth of color that you can have, the more accurate it's going to look, if that's what you're going for. So here is mostly finished little birdie. I will do some more tomorrow, and I'll take a picture of the finished piece so that you can see it. I appreciate you stopping by, and look for a new series coming probably in July. Have a great night.